I want to tell you a short story. It's the story of my friend who is proud of a lot of things except the name of his hometown. The problem started the very first day a teacher came into their class and they were doing introduction. When it was his turn and he mentioned the name of his town, the whole classmates busted laughing. So the laughter really took him aback. So he felt maybe because of the way the name of his hometown sounded, that it was something to be ashamed of. So from that day, he doesn't like mentioning the name of his hometown to anybody. There was a guy was asking him, he wouldn't tell me. He said, Father, if I tell you, you are going to laugh. You see, I don't know. But the point is that so many of us are like this, my little friend. There are things about our history we are not proud of. There are things about our history that whenever we remember it or remember them, we feel broken, we feel wounded. The point I want to tell you today is this: none of us had control over his or her history. Nobody chose where he or she was born or his parents or her parents. I think I remember I've forgotten the person who said that noble birth is accident of fortune. Noble birth that you came from royal family, came from a wealthy family, came from black race or white race or wherever is accident of fortune. It's not your own making. So it's not something to brag or get your ego swollen up. But that notwithstanding, the point I want to give you today is this. No matter what you think is unflattering about your history, maybe you came from a tribe where you are regarded as an outcast. Maybe you are regarded as an illegitimate child. You were born out of wedlock. Or maybe you are even a product of rape. Anything could be the low point in your history. I want to tell you this: origin is not destiny. That you came from this background does not mean you are meant to end up there. If this powerful lady, Oprah Winfrey, is limited by her history, she would have remained a young, abused, broken young girl. But today, she's a giant in her chosen field, mesmerizing the world with her achievement, one of the great black women in history. What of Steve Jobs, who was born and given up for adoption by his parents? He later rose to become the key figures that revolutionized the way we communicate in the world. So I always want you to remember this: that origin is not destiny. Okay, take for instance, if you read the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the passage we just read, where Matthew was recounting the ancestors of Jesus, there are names that any average Jew, that whenever an average Jew hears such a name, that average Jew will shrink from shock and horror. Imagine the name Rahab, who was regarded as a prostitute in Jericho, becoming part of the genealogy of Jesus. Imagine Bathsheba, who was raped by David, giving birth to Solomon, and these names are included in the genealogy of Jesus. Imagine Tamar, who seduced her father-in-law Judah, and that union or affair produced Perez and Zerah. These names are included in the genealogy of Jesus. But one thing you have to know is that that limiting background, that humbling background, did not stop Jesus from becoming one of the most consequential figures in history. Anybody that is at home with Jewish history, we know that Jewish people don't joke with what they regard as purity of race. If you read the book of Ezra, chapter 9, you will see to such a big extent purity of race is taken when the Jewish citizens who were taken into Babylonian captivity, at their return, it was discovered that many of them have gone against the sacred covenant of not marrying from from Gentile races. like the Moabites, Hittites, Jebusite, Perizzite, the Canaanites, and name them. But they married from the race. When the prophet Ezra heard of this, he was broken by this abomination. And he cried from morning till night until the elders of Israel came together and said, please, we have decided to send our wives and the children born from such union home just to maintain the purity of our race. Now, it was from these people that our Lord Jesus Christ, despite the premium placed on the purity of race, if you read the genealogy of Jesus, you see that the genealogy of Jesus was also marred by Gentile blood. When you mention Tamar, when you mention Rahab, or even Bathsheba, who is the wife of a Hittite, Uriah. The point is this: noble birth is accident of fortune. Noble death is an achievement. Never you allow whatever tag given to you to limit you. Keep pushing, keep believing. Like I said, origin is not destiny. Where you are coming from does not mean that is where you will end. You can be great, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. If you are conversant with the mystery of growth, those who are into farming, you will discover that if you get a grain of seed, maybe a grain of corn, and put it in the soft earth, it surely decay before a new life will come up. Now the question is, if that corn did not die, it wouldn't have given rise to new life. So I still maintain that origin is not destiny. Whatever may have happened to you is okay, but don't allow it to define you. I pray for you today that God will give you the courage and the grace to transform your history to become a story of inspiration, success, and joy to humanity. Peace be with you.